Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today we will go through a couple of short stories from the Age of Sigmar universe. I will briefly cover what they are about, how good they are, and give you a rating. Without further ado, let's get started with The Learning by David Geimer. This is an emotional and interesting story that is weighed down a lot, and I really mean a lot, by unnecessary flair and gibberish. On one hand, it takes a deep dive into the cruelness and darkness of the internet society to give you a good idea of what goes on beneath the surface. The main character starts off as a child missing his mother, but slowly evolves into a cruel beast breaker in a tale filled with emotion and cool world building. Basically, you see how the environment and society of the Deepkin breeds these cold psychopaths that we all know. On the other hand, this story is also flooded with random internet gibberish and chapters that last about a dozen sentences, which is a shame because while the setup is nice, the lack of readability drags it down to 3 stars for me. Then Dead on the Road to Svartheim by Darius Hinks. Here we see Gotrek and Melaneth basically complete a side quest in The Witcher, where they find a random dude on the road and try to help her out. Then there's some fighting and things don't turn out to be exactly what they seemed at first glance. I personally find that the Gotrek character gets boring quite fast, but the great amount of world exploration and the necessity of Gotrek to adapt to this new world make his books worthwhile. This short, however, has neither and just shows us some fighting with boring nobodies, rather forgettable, 2 out of 5 stars. Then Blood of the Flayer by Richard Strachan. Do you know Hot and Cold by Katy Perry? Well, imagine if Katy Perry was a Chaos Warlord and then you get Lord Huther, a Lord of Chaos Undivided who frequently switches allegiances between the Chaos Gods. Is something we don't see often, but this story proves it is at least possible. I like how this short story could give a nice introduction to the Big Four by showing you what life is like for a warband worshipping each one. Sadly, this story doesn't do a lot of interesting things to build on its promising premise. Basically, Huther just decides that he feels like worshipping someone else, and then everyone automatically respecs to the new build in half a sentence. I think the ending was quite nice, but still, it's quite some wasted potential in my opinion, so 3 stars because of it. Then Bosr by Eric Gregory, a fun adventure in which we follow Bosr Griblach, who is losing control of his horde of goblins. What can I say, running away in fear while crying for mercy tends to hurt your reputation as a greenskin. He has a plan to win them back, but angry squigs, backstabbing gobbos, and mysterious umis soon turn his plan into a very wild ride. It shows some nice insights into goblin society and politics, with some very vivid descriptions of what a Gloomspite lair looks like. The plot has a decent amount of humor, and it is entertaining enough, but its reliance on common Gloomspite tropes and the fact that almost every goblin story in Warhammer boils down to Gobble wants power earns it a slot in the 4-star category instead of 5. Strong Bones by Michael Fletcher. This is about a trio of ogres that come face to face with some Ossiarch Bone Reapers. I like the portrayal of the Bone Reapers in this one, who are not just very alien and uncanny, but also based beyond beliefs. These guys are completely badass in this story, and if you want to get hyped to build an Ossiarch army, then this story is great. That being said, the portrayal of the ogres is rather the opposite, as it is both inconsistent as well as uninspired. The ogres are dumb, hungry, and little else. They are basically written as a dumber, more boring version of orcs, which is neither lore accurate nor fun to read about. The Reapers are fun, but not fun enough to salvage this story, 2 out of 5 stars. Then finally, The Garden of Mortal Delight by Robert Rath. Now this is an excellent short story about a branch witch named Curdwen, who is held hostage by a group of Slaaneshi Hedonites. Ravish and his gang have a garden of living but decapitated Sylvaneth on which they grow various exotic plants. To keep this garden blossoming, they need the life magics of the witch. The garden checks all the boxes and definitely gets 5 stars. It has great world building that shows a novel, haunting interpretation of both the Hedonites as well as the Sylvaneth. The dialogue is lovely and the story even has a song. The plot is engaging, surprising, and ends on a banger. Highly recommend this one.
You've reached the end of this Vox message. If this sparked your pleasure centers, make sure to anoint the subscribe button. Thank you for visiting Bathelloren. May the Omnissiah be with you.